Alright, Tutu, I'm back again. Okay, can you bring out a textbook? Alright, let's turn to page 40. We have this type of equations, for instance, 2 bracket 3x minus 5 equals to 6. Alright, so in this case here, okay, on the left hand side of the equations and on the right hand side of the equations. Alright, so on the left hand side of the equations, it involves a bracket, right? So a bracket usually involves a multiplication. Alright, so recap and recall what you have learned in this case here. Alright, so to solve equations, alright, the first thing we need to do is what? To isolate. Right, so that means all the variables go to the left hand side, all the numbers go to the right hand side. But in this case here, do you think you can move all the numbers to the right hand side? Alright, so in this case here, it is not possible until you have expanded or until you have distributed the 2 into the terms in the brackets. So in this case here, to solve this type of equations, right, if it involves a bracket, you will have to do expansion first. So remember how to do expansion. So in this case here, doing expansion simply means that to distribute 2 into each term in the bracket, and the operation involved will be multiplications. Right, so I will introduce 2 to 3x, multiplying, I get 6x. Right, and I will distribute 2 to minus 5. Alright, and the operation involved is times. So 2 times minus 5, I get minus 10 equals to 6. Alright, now this equations is similar to the equations that you have learned from the earlier video. So now what should we be doing? Now we should be isolating. Yes, so we have to move all the variables to one side, we have to move all the numbers to the right hand side. In this case here, we have 6x minus 10 on the left hand side, and we have 6 on the right hand side. Alright, so on the left hand side, we keep 6x, which is the variables. We don't want minus 10. So in order to get rid of minus 10, we need to introduce positive 10. Am I right? Because positive 10, the sign is opposite, and minus 10 give you 0. Alright, so to make the equation balance, we add a 10. We need to add a 10 on the right hand side also. So eventually the equations become, on the left hand side I'm left with 6x, on the right hand side I have 16. Alright, am I done? No, because our main objective is to find out what is x. Alright, so in this case I have 6x on the left hand side of the equations. Alright, and our objective is to make the left hand side of the equations become x. In this case here, I need to divide by 6, and to make the equation balance, I need to divide by 6 on the right hand side also. So now on the left hand side, after dividing by 6, I'm left with x. On the right hand side, 16 divided by 6. Using our calculators, what do you get? You get 8 over 3 in its simplest form, but this is not the answer yet. You have to express it in mixed number, which is 2 and 2/3. Go to another example, but now we will make it slightly more challenging. Right, so in the case now, we will introduce some decimal to the equations. So we will have 0.5 bracket, right, 3 minus 2a, okay, equals to 1.4. So how do we go about solving this type of equations? Right, again the same thing. Your main objective is to find what is the value of the unknown a. Okay, so we have brackets involved, so you need to expand. By expanding, we are saying by bringing or distributing the 0.5 into the terms in the bracket. The first one is 3 and the operation involves multiplications. We are also multiplying the 0.5 by the second term in the bracket. So in this case here, we will have 0.5 times 3, 0.5 times 3 will have 1.5, right? 0.5 times minus 2, we will have minus 1. Times a, we have minus 1a. Right, we don't have to put a 1. We don't have to put a 1 beside the coefficients. We don't have to put a 1 beside the a. Alright, so in this case here, equals to 1.4. Alright, so up to here, I believe that you don't have any misconceptions, right? Anything you need to clarify, do feel free to write on the remarks column, right? So in this case here, let me rewrite the equations. Okay, right? So in this case here, we want to find what is a. Am I right? Our objective is to find what is a. And on the left hand side, we have a number, which is a decimal in this case here, and a variable, right? And a decimal in this case and a variable. On the right hand side, we just have a decimal. So our main objectives is to keep the variable on the left hand side, but get rid of the numbers, which is 1.5 on the left hand side. So how should we go about doing that? So by simply subtracting 1.5, this term here will be gone. Am I right? So in order to balance the equations, I need to subtract 1.5 to on the right hand side. So in this case here, I would have 1.5 minus 1.5, okay, I would have 0. So I'm left with minus a, right? Minus a equals to 1.4 minus 1.5, I get minus 0.1. Alright, so are we done? Check. No, because our main objective is to find what is a. Alright, so in this case, minus a is the same as minus 1a. Alright, so in this case here, we are interested in knowing what is a. We are not interested in knowing what is minus 1a, right? So in order to get rid of the minus 1, what do I need to do? I would have to divide the left hand side of the equation by minus 1. Am I right? To make the equation balance, I need to divide by minus 1 on the right hand side. Alright, so you may want to use the calculators to help you to compute minus 1 and minus 1. I'm left with a. Minus 0.1 divided by minus 1, I'm left with 0.1. So a equals to 0.1 is the solutions to these equations. To check whether it's correct, simply substitute a equals to 0.1 back to these equations. Alright, okay, right, so that's